speaking of stars, our star today is Raila Junior Odinga in the building. Good morning.
I didn't do that. He did that.
I love that.
Yeah. Do you know, like, I always love when the stars we have gas themselves up, because I'm like, yes, you have to
they're ready.
bring your energy.
In the show.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much, Adele.
It's really, really great to have you on the show. And like, I've been watching you, especially online. Like, you are one of those people who just takes people head on. Like,
It's fire. It's fire.
like, I always
It never backs down.
My mind.
Yeah. And now it's quite interesting that, speaking your mind, you are being very vocal around things that people would think that, you know, let other people talk about that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially when we're talking about legalizing cannabis sativa.
Weed.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
And we've had Dr. Guadaogot, or Professor Guadaogot,
twice on the show.
On the show to just break down these issues. But you've been very passionate about it. Why? Because I've seen you talking about it online, and now you're like, it's like ongezeng the volume now. How comes this is something that you're very passionate about having conversations around?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
First of all, the show is Breakfast with the Stars.
Yeah.
So I thought I would come and eat breakfast of it.
No, what actually happens is the stars bring the breakfast.
Is it?
So like Elani brought cupcakes, guys have brought for us. You know, we were
sausages.
very
They
shocked,
didn't give me
Junior.
that memo.
No, I don't look like we're also
Not
trying
even
to, like,
thinking,
you know, put
you're
you on
my
the
rider,
spot.
first of all.
I was expecting it.
Vanilla latte,
Yeah.
you know. Like,
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah.
So basically, this what I wanted to talk about in general was taboo subjects in Kenya, and one of the main taboo subjects is marijuana.
Yeah.
Recently, you've seen that our good MP Honorable Okoth for Kibera has written to the speaker, asking for them to help them with a bill for medical marijuana use in Kenya.
Okay.
And this is what we are advocating for, because we feel that the time has come, and it's the right time to push for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also, like, something that was so interesting for me, I think I was one of those people who was just like, bangy, like deep down. But then, you know, Guadaogot, I had a conversation with him when he came through, and he mentioned, especially in like my shags, he said, go and have a conversation with your grandma.
Yes.
Back in the day, weed was called, or marijuana was called yath.
Yes.
Yath, which means medicine.
Yes.
If you translate it, it means medicine. And I remember thinking, what? Okay, continue. And there was like, there's a community around it, all right?
Yes.
People didn't abuse it. They knew when you feel ABCD, you go to see the herbalist or whatever you call him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would then prescribe the way he knows how. And sometimes it would be this yath
Yes.
that now we call marijuana.
Bangi.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, it's been used. The only time I think marijuana was made illegal in 1994, but before that, it was not illegal in Kenya. I say. And if you look even back in the history, even if you have a conversation with your grandmothers in the village, it used to be used. I know in Luo tradition, it used to be used during childbirth, even as a pain reliever.
Yes.
So it does has medicinal purposes, correct? From way back
for the
in
midwives.
The day.
Yes, we were told that by Ogot. I remember very, very well, because when he was breaking down the types of weeds.
Yeah.
Forget about what I'm not saying weed bangi. They have types of weeds and
medical
their function.
Yeah.
And their function.
Yeah.
Yes.
What has been the response initially to this bill?
I think people were shocked because initially when they think of marijuana, they think recreational marijuana, and they think of people on the street who are smoking it up.
Ganja farmers.
Yes.
Correct. But just what I wanted to say, there are many, many uses for medical marijuana. For example, it can be used for chronic pain.
Yeah.
For cancer survivors.
Yeah.
And people going through cancer.
Yeah.
It can also be used as a stimulant for appetite for people who are going through AIDS.
Yeah.
It has so many other medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
and it doesn't need to be smoked up. It can be used as a pill.
Yeah.
It can be used in liquid form. The different oil ointments, the different purposes for medical marijuana, and this is what we wanted to push.
Yeah, because even when you talk about that, like for me, what I see, especially knowing that we can grow it, is seeing it, especially in terms of pharmaceuticals, seeing a breakdown of that monopoly, and possibly having even medicine that is more accessible cost-wise to Kenyans. If you ask me, like, because it would be, if we do it right, it would be cheaper.
Yeah, if you look around the world, if you look at America, Canada, and the rest of this country, South Africa,
yeah,
they have actually legalized recreational marijuana, and they are now leading the trend in marijuana farming. You have cannabis sativa, and you also have cannabis indigo, which is the Indian variety of cannabis, and this can be used as a cash crop product.
Yeah.
And this can help with foreign exchange, and it can also help with just small scale farmers.
Yeah.
So it adds to the economy in Kenya.
This is very interesting. I never thought I would ever be having this conversation. Like 5 years ago, I never thought we would be having.
The more people coming out, now this is the third person to talk about it. Okotho spoke about it. It started with Daktari, who came here and spoke, and guys were like, hey, this guy, Bana. You just want to smoke it up. But he was like, you know what? The same people who made the constitution, who made us criminalize or make marijuana illegal.
Yeah.
And the same guys now in their countries have now taken an about turn.
Yeah.
And legalized it.
Well, we'll get to that in the next 4 minutes. Of course, if you're just joining us right here on Kiss FM, we do have Raila Junior Odinga in studio, very passionate about talking about taboo topics. Number one on his list is medicinal purposes or reasons to decriminalize marijuana. So send your questions through on Twitter at Kiss100 Kenya. The hashtag is Adele. And listening to Breakfast with the Stars with me, Adele Onyango and Shafi Weru. Mercy McDan, listening from Githunguri in 4 minutes. I have your favorite song, Girls Like You, coming up. However, our star today is Raila Junior Odinga, who's in studio because of a convo he has put himself deeply in the middle of, which is the medicinal purposes or medicinal properties around marijuana and why we need to make sure that we can legalize it for those purposes. All right. And Mercy actually was saying that her in Githunguri, if she even opens up to start talking to people about the benefits of marijuana, nobody wants to know it. And then we have Lepario, who is tuned in and saying that the reason why cannabis in Africa is not recorded because it's been here since infinity. When we were colonized, it was criminalized, and we are still colonizing ourselves.
Yes,
really deep statement at the end there.
Yes.
And very heavy. And then, of course, we have Laston Wakao, who's saying, okay, since we are talking about weed, let me root myself on my chair and listen. I see what you did there. Good one. But, you know, when you're talking about decriminalizing marijuana, and especially for the purposes only of medicinal good, right? Is Kenya ready to be able to regulate that, to make sure this is the only thing it's going to be used for?
Okay, yeah. So, first of all, I'd just like to say a big what up to Mercy from Githunguri.
Yeah.
It's what she said is actually at the heart of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Which is we need to be able to talk about taboo subjects. Some of the very hard taboo subjects in Kenya. One of them is marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, amongst others. There's also the health of leaders. Yeah. And you can also talk about alcoholism or drug addiction. You can also talk about mental health.
Yeah.
You talk about, HIV used to be a stigma subject.
Yeah.
But now it's no longer a stigma subject. You talk about child abuse.
Yeah.
You talk about rape. So these are taboo subjects that we as Kenyans, we need to be able to come out and talk openly about them.
Yeah.
And have public debates about them. You know, because as the Constitution 2012 said, you know, before a bill is passed, there needs to be public debate. There needs to be civic participation.
Yes.
Which is what we are doing currently when we talk about this medical marijuana.
Yeah.
So just big up to Mercy, first of all.
Yeah.
And then now, when you come to regulating this.
Yeah.
I'm talking about medical marijuana. This is stuff that is used for medical purposes.
Yeah.
Of course, if marijuana is if it's abused, it can cause drug psychosis. But we're not talking about that. We're addressing controlled, prescribed medicinal use under supervision of a health professional. So even Panadol, if used badly, can kill.
Yeah.
But this is not what we're discussing. We're talking about something that is used under health supervision. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I want the audience to understand.
Because I think sometimes, even in terms of whether we legalize marijuana for medicinal purposes or not, we've already been
conditioned.
Not even conditioned, scrutinizing our pharmacies and stuff like that for giving out medicine that really should be only given out when there's a prescription.
Yes.
We already have those cracks going on, and only recently we saw, okay, if a dawa has codeine, it's now not going to be just sold over the counter. You have to have a prescription, which is great.
Yes.
Most pharmacies have adopted that, not all.
Yes.
So I think the people who are opposed to, legalizing marijuana for medicinal purposes are like,
but it's a two-bladed,
that's where they're coming from.
It's a two-edged sword because at the end of the day, even with the drugs that are legal, we're having these issues. That's what you're saying. So even with medicinal marijuana, let's have the conversation of decriminalizing it fast. Let's sort that. It's a first step. And then everything else will fall in place. Even in Canada, as we speak, as of midnight, they legalized the use of weed. But look at it this way. In their 13 provinces, it's so confusing. They don't have everything thought out.
But there's a first step. On what Shafi is saying, decriminalizing something doesn't mean you're making it legal. It just means you cannot go to jail for having possession of that of marijuana. Correct. Currently, the penal code states that if you're found with any strand of cannabis, you can face up to 10 years in jail for it. And up to 20 if it's not for your own personal use. So, for example, if Shafi is just bringing
with
a stick, then he doesn't
go to
smoke
10 years.
He could face up to 20 years in jail for this. So this is what we're talking about, decriminalizing it.
When we have this conversation, and let's say it goes through, the people who are currently doing jail time because of possession or whatever of marijuana, do things change for them, or we have to start lobbying again and going back to each of their cases?
I think this is a very unique legal question. I wouldn't be able to have the legal expertise to answer.
Because even Gwada Ogot was like, he's not too sure.
But at the end of the day, you see, it's two wrongs don't make a right. The moment that we sit down and realize, we've been going in the wrong direction. We can't keep on going in that same direction. But it's under the president's prerogative now, because I'm sure, like every December, he releases people. I'm assuming if we get to the point where fast weed will be decriminalized, the next December after that, he'll be the first guy. This is why will come out and show all
when
those
you're
guys.
Talking about people who are in jail for possession of marijuana, these are non-violent criminals. And then you then put them in a situation where they are now
with
violent criminals. So and this is now
it's a human right violation.
For our class, for a more
training,
for a more determined
hardcore criminals.
Maybe it was just a guy over there in his shaki, growing his own weed.
Like that student on Monday. The student who was busted from Migori, the 21-year-old adult from Migori, who was dressed in
school uniform,
and was trying to transport, weed
marijuana
from Migori to Mombasa through Nairobi.
And Kwanzaa even Migori. So now you put him in a place where they are murderers.
Hey, things are thick, Adele.
Guys, listen, when we come back, like more around this conversation. What I want to know is, yes, we have the conversation, but what can you and I do if you support this bill to help Ashley over their 1 million view mark on YouTube, which is brilliant for him. We are with Raila Junior Odinga, and the conversation has been around the hashtag he started, which is hashtag legalize it. Conversations around medicinal use of marijuana and how we can get to a point where we can actually use it to, bring down the numbers of people who are suffering, especially chronic pain from different health conditions, from cancer, and you mentioned HIV. I think even yesterday there was an article on The Standard about cancer, and yes, it talks about the number of leaders who are facing it, but also in terms of the cheaper option. Let's say you find your cancer in the early stages, and you may not need chemo or radiotherapy. Maybe you only need surgery. It's going to cost you about
here and there.
Shafi, it's only going to cost you about 500k.
Yes,
which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So we do have a health crisis in this country.
Yeah, this is correct. So when you talk about taboo subjects, when people don't want to discuss these things, usually you find it's the poor who suffer the most.
Yeah.
And when it comes to an alternative for noble medication for chemo and cancer patients, you have to wait until you have your loved one in such a situation where they're suffering through chronic pain, through cancer, and the normal alternatives don't work. You will then now be considering something that is illegal. So what we want to do is control this have this stage C controlled and regulated through the medical board. And this is what we're actually pushing for.
So how can people join the conversation, or is, at one point will you need public participation? You know what I mean? So where can the people who are listening today get more information, and if they want to support this and support you and see this through, what can they do?
I think for starters, what we want to start by doing is push the hashtag legalize it. And this is just to have a general conversation. As we move forward, we'll have t-shirts, we'll have banners, but just for now, just for people who are pro legalize it, I think it's good to go to the hashtag legalize it and talk about your experience on what you think medical marijuana should be used for, the pros for it, and even people who are against it. They can also jump onto the hashtag.
Because so it starts with convos.
It's a good starting point.
And even further than that, I think everybody has been like, okay, Junior,
where have you been?
And is this like, everybody has a passion point, especially when they're trying to get into positions of leadership. So is this, especially the taboo topics, is this your way, to break into leadership, to break into politics?
Okay, I'll answer your question with a question of my own, which is, why is it every time someone has a passion about something,
they have an agenda?
They have a political agenda. Why can't we have doctors talking about things that are happening with the police? Or why don't we have security guys talking about things that have nothing to do with them? I mean, I feel for ourselves, and as I mentioned before, the Constitution 2010 allows public participation. So what I'm actually doing is performing my civic duty, which I feel we should all do as Kenyans. So this is a passion of mine that I feel very strongly about. Yes.
And it has been for a while, or?
Yes,
because I think for people it's because they've never, or they haven't been able to share those spaces with you. You know what I mean? Where you lead this conversation. So now it's almost like, oh, okay. Is this something that is leading to something or not? And it's things that you've been involved with. Even from before.
From before. It's just because I become more vocal. One thing leads to another. I wasn't really vocal on social media until something happened, and I had to become vocal on my own social platform. And then, which has now pushed me to radio. It's just a stepping stone from one thing to another. Another thing, but we really do a lot of things behind the scenes, especially working with a MP, Honorable Kenoko, which is one of my other passions that we do. recently he's completed a school in Kibera.
A second school, actually.
A second school in
Yes.
Kibera,
Yeah.
correct. And what we're now doing is appealing to people for donations for school furniture, desks and chairs and whatever. We just want to push to anyone who can do this to come out and contribute to Kenokoth and to the people of Kibera.
Okay, cool. So do they come to your social media platforms, or how do they?
They can contact me through my social media platforms.
Yeah.
They can contact me through my mobile. I mean, there are different ways of people getting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So you say your number is with everyone?
Everyone has my number. Even you have my number.
I thought that was important.
So what you can do, guys, is go onto his social media platform.
What's your handle?
On Twitter, it's Raila Junior.
Yeah. On Instagram is Raila Odinga J.
Yeah.
And on Twitter it's Raila Junior. And on Facebook I'm Raila Junior.
Yeah. Okay. So it'd be cool for those of you who want to help out to, have a conversation around him. And even if you don't have the funds to help, you can spread the word. I mean, why not?
And we hope you're going to come again soon.
With good news of your,
Yes.
When you talk about taboo topics, think of me.
Definitely.